All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty show. It's going to be an absolute banger show, talking about Casper, talking about HBAR, talking about XRP, talking about the best cryptos and maybe comparing them to NBA players. This is the Ask Matty show. Matt, how are you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing great. Talking about the NBA makes a little nervous because I'm not a sports guy, but we'll do our very best. No, I do love this show. It's probably one of my favorite things I do that's not specifically for our platform each and every week. I love interacting with you guys and learning about what you guys are interested in and ready to answer some of your guys' questions today.
Team, we saw a little bit of a sell-off in crypto today, so we're going to talk also about that. As I know this is the moment to be buying. I know you see it everywhere. Everyone, when they cope, they say, oh, it's a buying opportunity, but you must go in with that mindset. And if you need strategies, which I bet you do, Crypto Charge is the place to learn about that. Education platform is where we come from. Crypto Charge, we do shows every single day on there. We have the community tool, so check us out there and use code YouTube and get extremely smart and become the best crypto investor you possibly can. And then we can all celebrate and sell in the bull run and sing kumbaya, sell the top, and buy Lambos. But in today's show, we are getting to your guys' questions, and I know Matty is very excited for them. Hopefully, Matty was just saying before the show, I mentioned to him about the NBA, and he's like, oh, I don't know anything about the NBA. It's like, okay, Matty, it's just the best cryptos here. We just need to talk about the best cryptos here. So I love your guys' questions. You guys always leave some bomb questions. So we're about to get into it. Matty, are you ready?
Let's do it, baby.
Shaw says, if crypto was basketball, who is LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Magic, and Bird?
Oh, yeah. LeJon Brames is my absolute favorite basketball player. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I do know who these people are. I just don't follow basketball. I understand the bigger concept here, right? Like, what are kind of like the four staples in crypto that we can look at? Now, I think that can be maybe a little bit subjective, but, if we're going to try to be as subjective as possible, we got to put Bitcoin in there as one of the big daddies out there. Even though I don't believe that Bitcoin is the best DLT solution out there or that is going to provide the absolute best proprietary value to this space, we're always going to have some space for Bitcoin. Obviously, also Ethereum as, one of the first big L1s that people are building very actively on today. Again, please, guys, when I talk about ROI, it doesn't mean that I'm anti-technology or that I'm anti the applications that are providing real world utility here. I always, again, I'm an investor first. And sometimes, when we talk about these things, they can be misconstrued as me being, anti-Bitcoin or anti-Ethereum, just as an investment vehicle. But Bitcoin and Ethereum definitely in those top four right there. XRP as well. XRP is as old as some of these other legacy assets, has provided incredible utility across the board. Ripple has proved that year after year, even though, again, price action has been a little bit disappointing for the digital asset XRP, but we are seeing that real world adoption sit in. So again, I think that XRP is here to stay for many decades to come. And then, I think number four is really going to be the most subjective. I think out of everything that I hold right now, I would say probably it would be HBAR. And that's, a blend because of, the long-standing history with HBAR as well as the high level of utility that's available with HBAR. Now, again, it doesn't mean that I'm not bullish on Casper. It doesn't mean I'm bullish on all these other new projects. You guys talked about four very big staples in the NBA community. So kind of have to put a little bit of weight into, the longevity of the project in addition to the level of utility.
For you basketball fans out there, Casper is like Anthony Edwards right now in the playoffs. So it's still early, but still a great project. And so you don't want to miss out on that as well. But Matty, I think those were some good picks right there. What about if you had to throw an Oracle in there?
I mean, I'm going to go with API 3. Even though Chainlink's been around longer, API 3 is highly competitive. They're integrated just as well as Chainlink into, DEXs and other exchanges. I think it's highly competitive. So I would say API 3 could definitely be tossed in there as one of the potential up-and-coming GOATs when it comes to oracles.
Benny Jet 548 says, why did crypto crash today?
Because you bought. No, that's always how it feels though, right? You end up buying a little and you're like, all right, here's the dip. I'm going to go and deploy. And then, price action always works against you that very next day. I think that one of the things that we're seeing in risk on assets, this isn't just in crypto. If you look at the equity markets as well right now, we've had a pretty decent decline in equities over the last few weeks here. And that is really kind of One, based on what we saw with the softer than expected GDP. So, gross domestic product reading coming in much lighter than expected. That shows that there is a lesser amount of economic expansion than what we would have liked to have seen, right? It shows kind of a little bit of a weaker economy. But we also have the FOMC meeting coming up here. So that is definitely something that we see ahead of FOMC meetings is intense volatility, even leading up into the meeting, right? We can even see intense spikes in the opposite direction leading into the meetings. It's very typical behavior. So I think the markets are just very on edge. They're very nervous about what Powell's going to get out there and say. We went from having the possibility of 3 rate cuts this year to 2 rate cuts, and those rate cuts, coming in the summertime, now being kicked down the road into the potential fall time here. We're all trying to do our best analysis here with the other fundamentals in the political environment, knowing that we have a very big election coming up here in the United States. I think there's a lot of factors that are making these markets very volatile, but specifically right now, I think that the FOMC meeting looming, wondering what Powell's going to say. Is he going to be this ultra hawk and try to put the markets back in their place? Is he going to give us a little bit of that positive note that we're going to be, seeing those cuts sooner than expected? I think that we'll have a little bit more clarity in the coming hours here, but I think that's really the main reason why we're seeing crypto in kind of a flurry today. But again, not just crypto, other risk on as well is behaving the same way.
Roy Story, beefing with someone else's comment, says, do y'all weigh your XRP more than HBAR? That's the better question.
I ain't balling shit. Always whip that scale out. No, I don't necessarily weigh my XRP more than HBAR in that capacity. Like, when you look at your bags, right? Like, there is like a short-term possibility, and then there's the long-term possibility, right? Like, what is the utility? What is the long-term growth here? With HBAR, I absolutely see long-term growth. When you look at the partners that are on the governance council for HBAR, really, really big names on there. And I definitely don't want to ignore that. I think that if I had probably been more bullish on HBAR earlier, had learned more about HBAR earlier on, I probably would have had a bigger HBAR bag, and it probably would have been closer to my XRP bag. But XRP was the very first crypto that really piqued my interest. Bitcoin didn't pique my interest that much. Ethereum didn't pique my interest that much. Because I came from the foreign exchange world, XRP was like, boom, this is an instant click for me. It makes perfect sense as to why this is a good investment. Started building that bag. So, it's not that I'm not as bullish on HBAR as I am on XRP. I just started building that XRP position way earlier on than that HBAR position. So, the other thing to consider too with HBAR is there's staking rewards right now too, right? So that's another thing to consider with your long-term bags is you are kind of getting a little bit of a bigger reward towards the end of that because we don't have the option to stake our XRP because it's not a proof of stake model. So, I don't necessarily say that I weigh them differently. I just, again, always look at ROI, and, some of this just comes down to when you started building those bags. And for me, XRP was first.
Hardy Smalls 4 says, can you please give a Casper update? I know Casper's at like 2.8 cents right now, Matty, looking like a prime buying opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, it's juicy right now. Casper is one of those things, price action wise, that's definitely been super frustrating. Seeing it just stuck in this accumulation range for such an exorbitant amount of time. I've seen lots of other altcoins do this though, where they've been in, long, boring ranges, and then finally just that God candle pops out and it seems to correct everything. But if we want to take a quick look at the chart here, looking first of all at the strong support level that we're on right now. Go ahead and pull out our horizontal line. So here's our support level, right? We're got support there, got major resistance up in here. So very clean, clear accumulation zone. If we compare this to something like Chainlink, let's see if I even have Link on my list anymore. Link may have been kicked. Let's go ahead and pull up Link just so you guys can see really quick the structure that we were in. So if you guys look at that Link structure, this is the exact same scenario that Casper's in right now. There was a lot of people who started to become very bearish on Link in these areas. People were calling for a 50-cent chain link, a $1 chain link. But this range ended up just holding in here. So I really, when I look at Casper, all I see is the same thing, just on a different scale. I think that we are potentially gearing up to see, some maybe bigger listings here, especially now that we have some, other applications being built on Casper right now. One thing that I do look at though, is when we look at this downtrend that was established here, we actually have already broken that big downtrend. So you had the first touch here in 2021, again here in November, big touch here in April, also another touch here in November, and you finally get this breakout here in January. And yes, we've definitely come back down, back into the bottom of support, but you guys can see that when we interact with the outside of this descending trend line that was broken, we are finding some buyer demand, we are finding some resiliency in there. So Casper's not immune to what's happening with the rest of the risk on market right now. We're seeing a lot of altcoins deeply correct. We saw Bitcoin shed several $1,000s over a very short period of time. When you look at the opportunities in retrospect, you go, damn, I wish I had bought this at this price. I wish I had bought this at the lows. I wish I had bought this while I was in his accumulative phase, or I wish I had bought a little bit more. Casper is kind of an easy buy for me because we also have those staking rewards that are very juicy. So for me, once a week, my ritual every Sunday, I don't go to church anymore, but when I sit at my computer, that is my church because I sweep everything into cold storage and I get everything staked up that needs to be staked. So that's going to be Casper, and that's going to be my APA 3. So anything that I bought that week goes in there. So I love when I clock in and I check my staking rewards and I see that I have not only added to my bags, but I've also seen a very big increase in my total Casper position because all of those staking rewards are auto compounding. So, with Casper right now, it's, frustrating to see it at bottom of range, but I do think that we're going to get a very nice pop into this illiquidity zone, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I think Casper could go from 2.8 cents to the low 20-cent region in probably a matter of days. What day that's going to be, I couldn't tell you, but I think that it could happen very quickly and surprise a lot of people. And you're going to really wish that you had loaded up, in the 2-3 cent region instead of having to negotiate. Do I buy at 7 cents? Do I buy at 8 cents? And, to get this next leg up towards $1 or more.
Matty, it seems like ever since like the IPW announcement seeking Chapter 7, and then Casper moving lower to 3 cents, now at 2.8 cents, everyone's become, a little bit skeptical. I've seen people in the comments or maybe even in the Discord be like, I'm just going to hold up on buying Casper right now. Or the people on the YouTube comments is saying, hey, I just sold all my Casper for Casper. So what is the mindset? Is this normal for an altcoin to look like this at this moment in time?
Every cycle is unique. Even though we see, similar patterns in different cycles and, different inklings that we can look at that what's going to happen next. I don't think that we can ever say this is a 1-for-1 study of what's going to happen next with this asset. From what we're looking at here, this is just typical accumulation. We have seen many alts in this accumulative phase. We see late bloomers many times in cycles, and you can't tell which is going to go first, right? You can always pile into that next hot AI coin, and some of them will go up 2x in a day, and some of them won't do anything, and they'll just go ahead and just stay as a low capitalization crypto. So, when we're looking at the Casper chart here, I'm always looking for these types of opportunities. This is one of the things we were talking about even with Helium recently that we've entered. And we talked about the breakout backtest that we got on Helium. And that breakout on Helium really seemed to come out of absolutely nowhere. Same long range that we were trapped in there. You finally get this breakout. The backtest very violent that we're seeing right now, but incredibly healthy. And it really just takes, I'm just telling you guys, a matter of 2 or 3 daily candles to change everyone's entire perspective on the quality of the asset, the community. I can't stand that word anymore just because you guys have diluted it down to absolutely nothing. The messaging, the narrative, you guys have also diluted that word down to absolutely nothing because we're now applying to the meme coins and trying to rebrand them as community coins. I think that a lot of people lose the objectivity that it takes to be a good long-term investor. A lot of you guys are only looking for windfall profits. Of course, I'd love to be rich tomorrow morning, right? I'd love to be worth millions and millions of dollars and, go ahead and just travel the world for a year and a half. But the reality is I'm here to not only do some swing trading and make some short-term investments, I'm also building good long-term positions. I do believe in Casper as a long-term project, meaning that I see Casper years in the future at $8, $9, $10 or more. So when you're looking at an opportunity to buy something like 2.8 cents, it's the equivalent of being able to buy XRP at a fraction of a penny. XRP, guys, was at one point in time a fraction of a penny. And there are people who have held on to part of their XRP bag for long periods of time. So again, I'm not so much concerned with the day-to-day price action. A lot of people have theories of, well, if your coin didn't do this by this date, might as well dump it and jump into these new coins because that's what's popping off here. This market is still very young. The Fed hasn't even cut rates yet. All of this rallying is ahead of any shift in the macroeconomic environment. So I think people are getting just very impatient. A lot of people are new to the space, or they, ignore the space, walked away in the bear market, and they're walking back in now, and they're like, well, this is it. It better happen in the next 12 to 18 months, or, I'm walking away from this. So, it's not for everybody, and I get that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not a person who just hops around, right? I personally do a lot of research into what I'm invested in, and I just continue to double and triple down into those things, especially things like Casper, where I have the opportunity to earn staking rewards and continue to build that long-term position over time. So, I don't think I'll be eating my words here buying Casper at 2, 3, 4 cents when I know that we're going to be trading well over $1 by the end of the cycle.
Behavioral Analyst 99 says, if you had to choose one over the other, would you choose the technicals of a project or the fundamentals? So putting you in a corner here, Matty. You have to choose one.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. You can't have one without the other, right? It's gotta be both. I know I kill Gavin over here. I'm 30 years old, but he thinks I'm 95. When I evaluate something, I have to have both, right? Otherwise, I would be buying meme coins based strictly off of the technicals, right? Which I've talked about previously. If you're going to be doing that, like make sure there's still a good technical setup. I identify the fundamentals first. Once I've decided this is a good fundamental project, there's something proprietary here that stands out within its vertical very nicely, then we evaluate the technicals. If both of those things align, then we make a decision. It's not one without the other. And a lot of you guys throw caution to the wind either which way. You'll say, okay, well, I'm super bullish on this fundamentally. I don't care that it's up 35x this cycle. I want to get in now because it's going to do another 2x from here, right? And that's just as foolish as saying, hey, there's a good technical opportunity here, but the fundamentals aren't there. The tokenomics are bad. And I'm still going to jump in anyway just because the chart looks kind of good. I need to have that blend of both. For some of you guys, maybe you think I play it a little bit too safe. I promise you, I've just been around this space long enough to see that a lot of this stuff comes and goes. And I want to be here for the projects that are not here just for today, that are here for several years in the future. So I can never jump into something that doesn't have a good blend of both technical setups as well as fundamentals. Can't choose.
Yeah, I like that, Matty. People that come from like traditional investing will probably more often talk about the fundamentals without ever looking at the technicals, and it's funny now because like people like want to figure out their portfolio on an annualized basis, but if you're not looking at the technicals, you're not really strategically entering an asset. You could be entering, I mean, we were just looking at the after hour show the other day. We quickly looked at that chart of the best performing assets of the last 14 years. And it was like 3 years Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin was the worst investment a year. And then it was 3 years Bitcoin was the best investment, and then another year where it was the worst investment. And it's like, I know people preach don't time the market, but it's very hard to like not look at that and say there's a pattern here. Right. I can recognize the pattern here. There is a time where you should be buying crypto. I was just talking to Matty. I was talking with you. You're right here. I was talking with you the other day about how much your portfolio is up. Like my portfolio right now is like up 3x off the lows, okay? Now, that's coin stats, and obviously I've been adding to that, so it's probably not as accurate here, but I'm heavily weighted in Casper, heavily weighted in XRP, heavily weighted in Zcash, which is something I started deploying later in the bear market, and those are predominantly down, maybe besides Zcash, but XRP, Casper still down because those were assets I was buying early in the bear market,
Right.
But then you got, your 4 or 5, picks in your portfolio, HBAR and API3 that are absolutely carrying right now,
Right.
on a big scale. So it's like, team, like there is patterns to this. It's just like pattern recognition, like what's your IQ? Can you recognize the patterns here? Like, and it's really like, I know you guys may nitpick, like we make it too difficult for that, it might sound difficult over this show. I'll be honest. Like we sit here, we talk shop, and we talk about things, some fun things like comparing NBA with crypto, or we might get a little bit into Casper. But that's because we don't get into the grandiose part here. We do a 21-minute show here. Do you expect us to sit here and, like map out everything for you? No, it's on the website, guys. Please go check out the website. Everything is over there. If you feel lost here, or you feel like we're only scratching the surface here, I promise you guys, it's all on the website. You guys can go tap in there. And it's not something where it's like, oh, now you're a member and, there's just a big platform with a bunch of tools and a bunch of videos. No, you start at the beginner's course. You get into the Discord, and then everything just opens up from there. We have videos. Matty's been doing a bunch of Discord exclusive streams for the community here. If you are a technical analyst, I would imagine in the future he's going to branch out into more things. So, guys, there's a lot of tools you should be getting into over there. I'm going to be honest. I have a lot of people that reach out to me on a daily basis that, aren't Crypto Charge members, Matty, and they reach out, when something happens, something bad or good happens, and they say, what do I do now? And I'm like, what are you talking about? 30 days free, cryptocharge.com. Don't
Right.
text me. Like, I have a bunch of things to do here. Matty's busy. Matty, I know you're busy and you hate questions like that. It's like, hop in the Discord. Get on the platform. Like, we can't sit here. We'll answer your guys', we'll answer 5 questions a week for you guys, but all the rest, team, it's over there. Come check us out over there. I can't stress it enough. Matty, any final words to leave the team with here today?
Oh, come on, guys, get plugged in with us over at Crypto Charge. I try to give you guys kind of a little bit of an understanding of what our values are and how we approach investing. And, for some people, it's not the sexiest route. And for some people, it's not the right decision. For some of you guys that are looking for all the meme coin picks and looking for the gains to be happening by, tomorrow, the next week, and, to be invested in 500 different projects, I'm not your guy. But if you want to learn about how to read charts for yourself, and again, that's really probably one of the biggest propositions that I have in this program is giving you guys the tools to be self-sufficient. And one of those things is to be as proficient as possible in charting. And you can take this anywhere, right? If you're interested in the stock market, if you're interested in the foreign exchange market, metals, oils, this is going to give you the opportunity to branch out into other verticals and be able to identify those opportunities of your own. That is genuinely my goal throughout this entire program, is to give you guys the tools to do your own research, to do your own charting, and be able to become more self-sufficient. And of course, tune into Crypto Charts so you guys can kind of get a little bit of that, update on the macro, get an update on what we're doing, but then still being able to kind of do some of your own fact checking and do it for yourself. So, I definitely don't want to sell you guys a bag of goods, right? And hope, tell you guys that you guys will be rich by tomorrow, because that's not the case. But I do think that if you are willing to put in the time and stick with our program for a considerable amount of time, at least 6 months, I would say that you're going to get a fair amount out of the program and feel a lot more confident about investing as a whole. So YouTube gets you guys 50% off any membership, $4.99 for the year or $50 a month, 30 days free either which way, that you guys get a chance to kind of check us out and see what we're about. So hope to see you guys in that Discord soon.
Words of wisdom, Matty team. If you got value out of this, please like the video. Do not leave. Like the video. That greatly helps us. We will see you guys on today's show. But until next time, bye.